Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm the Naked Fairy, and today is the perfect day to talk a little bit about self-identity. Now, in the past, when people would ask what I was doing for St. Patrick's Day, I would tell them I wasn't doing anything. I was neither Irish nor Catholic, so a day celebrating an Irish saint, well, nothing I could really relate to. But several years ago, my daughter and I were exploring our ancestry, and we found on my mother's side a branch of the family that was Irish. One of my ancestors had come to England from France with William the Conqueror and had been awarded lands in Ireland, and his descendants married into the local population. And hence, I'm a tiny bit Irish. But the truth is, well, I'm an American, and I'm from the great state of Virginia, and as a history lover, I love the role that my birth state played in the formation of this country. And even though there are problems, and there have been problems, and our nation is far from perfect and has made a lot of mistakes, I really am proud to be an American. But first and foremost, when it comes to geography, I think of myself as Californian. I have lived in California for 20 years, and from the moment I got here, I loved it. I jokingly say that California is great because there's always someone weirder than you are. And as kind of a black sheep in my family growing up and in my community, because I never quite fit in, it felt good to be somewhere where kind of everybody has a place. If you don't have a place where you are, you move 3 blocks up the street and you find a place. There's such diversity in the state of California, and I love it. I love the state. I love the climate. I love the people. There is so much I love about living in California, and frankly, I really don't ever want to live anywhere else. Yeah, I know that the cost of living is high, and I've known a lot of people who choose to move out of the state for that reason. But I would rather live a little less opulently and be in California than be in any other state. I really do love it. But my identity is more than where I'm from or where I live. There's a lot that goes into who I am. I am a woman. And yes, I am definitely on the far female end of the spectrum. And I like being a woman. I like being a female. And I can't imagine not being a female, even when I play online games and where you have to pick a character. Once I tried and I picked a male character for a couple days, and it just, wow, felt so off for me because I so identify with being female. There's sexuality. I am bisexual, and I'm pretty firmly in the middle. Physically, I like both pretty equally. Emotionally, I'm a little more comfortable with men because I had such a positive relationship with my father compared to my relationship with my mother. But happy with both, and I've had committed relationships with both men and women. So there's the issue of sexuality, and that is a big, big issue right now in our country. And I think people who aren't in the quote-unquote norm need to be willing to speak out and need to own their sexuality and their gender, whatever that is and wherever they live on the scales. I'm also a wife. I've been with my husband now for, well, we'll be approaching our 16th anniversary in a couple of months, and I love being a wife. We've had an unusual marriage, so it has not been a ban to me being bisexual. It's worked for us both, and we've been very happy, and we love each other very much. Yes, it's true. Sometimes I want to kill him, but most of the time, I really love the guy. I'm also a mom, And yeah, being a mom has its frustrations, but I love being a mom. I love my daughters. I love all of them. They're all crazy in their own special way. They're all drama queens in their own special way. And I have to tell you, for two of them, well, two of them I sort of raised to be that, but they're so funny and entertaining that I really can't complain. I love being a mom, and I can't imagine not being a mom. It is, you know that phrase, the hardest job you'll ever love? That's what being a mom is for me. I'm a pet owner. I am a cat owner. I've had dogs before, but cats, yeah, cats are where it's at, and I love my cats. So there are my relationship identities. There's also what we do for our living. Forms are part of our identity. For a lot of years, I was a small business owner. And so when people would say, tell me about yourself, that would be one of the things I would tell about. Nowadays, I'm not. Nowadays, I am doing video blogging. Not only The Naked Fairy, but I'm about to launch a less serious channel with my other Gmail account, and looking forward to that because I really enjoy the actual work part of this, even though the subject matter is difficult. There's a lot of things that go into identity. Our appearances go into our identity. I'm a brunette. I have brown eyes. I have fair skin. I'm a Caucasian. Those are just, again, pieces, parts of what form who we are and how we think about ourselves. If you have experienced abuse or trauma, that also fits into your identity. I am me, and part of the experience set that makes me, me, is the abuse that happened to me and the years when I just barely held on, and all the years of recovery. I don't know what the future's going to be, but I will continue to be me with my history, but not defined totally by my history. It's just a part of me. Just like I'm more than my geography, and I'm more than my appearance, and I'm more than my gender or sexuality or my relationships, I'm also more than my pain. And that's something that can be really hard when you have lived so long in the pain that results from abuse and trauma. Not just the emotional pain, but often it has a strong impact on our sexuality. It also impacts our self-esteem and our self-image. And for a lot of us, it also results in ongoing physical pain that then becomes part of our identity. Part of my identity is that I suffer from a number of chronic conditions. PTSD is one of them, but I also suffer from fibromyalgia, and I have arthritis all over my body, and I have sciatica on both sides. And that's difficult. It is difficult to adjust to. I've had the first of the diagnoses when I was in my mid-20s, and so I've had a lot of years to get used to that. There was that point in my 40s when my eyes started to change. Now, I've been wearing glasses since I was in my early teens, but for about 20 years my eyes were very stable, and my prescription barely wavered. But getting toward my late 40s, my prescription started to change. And now, instead of wearing glasses all the time, when I'm reading or playing games on my tablet or doing anything up close, I do it without glasses. And I only need my glasses when I'm doing things at a distance. But I got very, very angry. I mean, it doesn't seem like a big deal. Everybody knows that their vision changes as they get older, but I got really angry because here's the thing. I've got a lot of physical issues. I really think I should have gotten a break in this area. But we don't always get a choice in that. I did also have a little tantrum this week about having to go back into therapy and having some really big PTSD bubbles popped because, once again, okay, 48 years. 48 years. I'm kind of tired of dealing with this stuff. Yes, it's part of me and it's part of my identity, but the work's hard. And, well, okay, I've had a plateau for a while now, but I'd like to believe there'll come a day when I don't have to dive into this stuff, but we'll see. But the point is that I'm more than that. I'm more than my chronic illnesses. I am more than the psychological and sexual scars that exist because of the abuse. And you are too. You're more than your pain. You're more than your experience set. Just like you're also more than your gender or your sexuality or your relationships. Here's the thing, and this is something that, people don't really tell you. So I'm going to let you in on a really big secret. Once you're an adult, once you've done some of the work and you're headed toward wholeness, and you start to get a real sense of who you are, you determine what parts of your identity you show to the world. Now, what you show to the world doesn't change at all the complexity of your identity. I had a former lover who referred to it as your window to the world. And that analogy works for me because I think of my inner self as a house. And whenever I start having house dreams of any kind, I know it's kind of my psyche telling me that, hey, warning, you're about to have some level of identity shift. So thinking of the pieces of identity that I show to the world as the windows to my inner house, I have lots of different windows, and I choose whether the window's open or closed, whether it has a screen or a shutter. Does it have blinds? Does it have shears? Does it have blackout curtains? See, you make the choice what you show to the world. I didn't have to show the world my abuse and recovery issues. This was a choice I made. I have literally chosen to be emotionally naked to the world. And it wasn't an easy choice, and it's not an easy process. But that was my choice, and I made it freely. It's my choice. I can go to the store and just be an anonymous shopper and never say a word to anyone, and all people see of my identity is my appearance. And I even determine that. Have I dressed nicely? Am I all scruffy? Have I even bothered to comb my hair? I choose those things. I choose my appearance to people. I choose whether to accentuate my gender or to disguise it as much as I can. I choose how much of my sexuality I show. I can choose whether I show my relationship. I don't wear a traditional wedding ring a lot of times because I don't care if people think I'm married or unmarried. I really have no preference either way. I'm married, and I know it, and he knows it, and we're committed to that, and that's really all that matters. I don't care if you see what you think is a wedding ring or not. So, but again, that's my choice. For some people, they want to show that. They want a traditional wedding ring, and they want to show that they are married. So you have a lot of choices what you show to the world. For a lot of people, they're not ready or able to show their woundedness to people. Whereas other people show a lot of their woundedness. They have a need to suddenly be open about something they've kept hidden. But again, even that, none of this is a permanent choice. As you go through your life, you will make different identity choices. When I was in my 20s and I was first starting my therapy journey, I was keenly aware that my size as a child had been a factor in being the one that was beaten, being the one that was abused. And so I went through a period where I went through a very butch period. Kept my hair very short. I worked out a lot. I was as beefy as I could get. Nowadays, I have embraced the feminine. I have embraced my girly girl side. I have really embraced the softer side of myself. And it took a lot of years for me to even be comfortable letting that softness show to the people I trusted most. And the fact that I can now not only show it to the world, but show it on a YouTube channel, that's huge for me. This is how you see me now. You've seen me with the makeup and the jewelry, and so this is just how I am to you, but I wasn't always this way. Ironically, with all of my daughters, even the one I raised, they had periods of their life where they had difficulty accepting their feminine soft side for one reason or another. And I made it a real point to introduce them to some of the more positive aspects of being a girl in our culture. It's a lot more acceptable for girls to get their nails done. So I introduced them to manicures and pedicures, which are just a delight if you've never had them before. And where they had interest in expressing their femininity, I encouraged them in assisted them. That wasn't anything I insisted on. They didn't have to. But I exposed it to them in a safe way so that they could choose what they showed to the world. And they're all different mixes. My youngest daughter is this very interesting mix of punk princess. She's tough and pretty, and it works on her. My daughter that I raised and gave birth to, she is, well, she went through a very androgynous phase for a lot of time, for a long time, not a lot of time. But then she started, she's never really gotten into makeup, but she has always kept her hair long, and lately she started to embrace the jewelry. And again, because I like jewelry, that's nice to share with both of them. My two married daughters are both their own mixes, and they're comfortable with where they are. One of them hardly wears any makeup except for special occasions. One of them wears a full face of makeup to go to the grocery store. That's her choice. That's the window she wants to show to the world. So you have choices. You have choices in regards to the basic facts about yourself, what you show to people. And you have choices about the inner stuff, what you show to people. And it's up to you. And you can change your mind. You can try things out. You can try being a girly girl, and if you don't like it, you can try going totally butch. And if you don't like that, you can find your place in between. Most of us live in between places. In some areas we're at one spectrum closer to the end or the other, but it is a range in all the areas. Even geography doesn't have to be fixed. There are plenty of people who don't settle down to a fixed geography. My youngest daughter was talking to me about that today. She really wants to lead a life that takes her to a lot of places and doesn't want to settle down any one place for a lot of years. And that's a choice that is hers to make. So I encourage you to think about who you are, how you see yourself. There are other issues. I've only touched on the most obvious ones. There's issues of education and spirituality and so many more personality traits that you have, even down to your favorite color. Do you wear your favorite color all the time, or do you keep your wardrobe pretty plain and your favorite color is expressed in your bedroom? There's lots of ways that you can express yourself. I have to tell you that as much as I love color, my favorite color to wear is gray. I just like gray, but I like everything else to be colorful. I like my jewelry to be colorful, and I like my makeup to be colorful. Again, that's my choice. I have days where I wear bright red shirts and no makeup at all. There's no rules. There really aren't. So you choose what you want to present to the world. I took today as an opportunity to wear all of my favorite green jewelry. But, that was a choice too. I could have gone through the day without putting any green jewelry on. But whatever you choose, whatever I choose, because here's the thing, I don't want you to kiss me because I'm Irish. I like kissing, I just want you to kiss me. And if that's what you want, whatever parts of you want to express to the world, what parts you want to show, and what parts you want to keep quiet, you're entitled to those choices. And here's another little thing. You can do it because you want to. You don't have to justify your personal preferences. So express yourself. Play around with how you express yourself. And enjoy figuring out your identity and enjoy the ways that it evolves and the way that you evolve and it expresses itself. But whatever you choose, whatever window you open to the world, whatever you choose to show, always remember that clothing is optional, but consent is not.